Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Right, let's make a start with Radha Madhav. Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunj Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunj Bihari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jayo Giravardhari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jayo Giravardhari, Shodanandana Vraj Janaranjana, Shodanandana Vraj Janaranjana, Yamuna Tiruvanachari, Jayo Radha Madhava, Jayo Kunj Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jayo Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya, Chakshurunmulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah, Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Staptam Yena Bhutale Swami Rupa Kadameyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatmitam Tam Sajiyam Sadvetam Savdutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Vrehescha Kirpa Sindhubevacha Paditana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Garim Yat Kirpatam Vandeshi Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madam Shirtaneshram Hariyam Tassat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Yasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nashta Preshavabdresya Nitabhaksaya Bhakti Tushloke Bhakti Bhakti Nishtaki. Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. So last time we were talking about Krishna making the impossible possible, and whoever he wants gone, they'll be gone. Whoever he wants to protect, they will protect it, and there's no other two ways about it. He's in control. And we're talking about Jarasandh, how he was killed by Bhim with the tips from Krishna. Otherwise it was like, it seemed impossible to kill him. So Krishna was always there to help them, to protect them, to guide them. all the time, and Arjuna is reflecting on that. I mean, there's like so many times Krishna helped them, and he's just going through some of the major ones that we know about. So let's go on to 10. So we're now verse 10. Patneyastava klipta mahabhiksha shalagistacharo kabram kitabhi sabayam sapristam vikriya pado patit ashru mukheya yastat striyo krita hatesh vimukta kesha. So patniya of the wife, tav yo adimakha, during the great sacrificial ceremony, kalpita, dressed, maha abhishek, greatly sanctified, shlagistha, thus glorified, charu, beautiful, kabram, clustered hair, kitvahi, by the miscreants, sabhayam, in the great assembly, spistam, being caught, vikriya, being loosened, padeo, on the feet, patit ashru mukhya, of the one who fell down with the tears in the eyes, yaha hi tat de, istriha, wives, akrita, became hat ish, bereft of husbands, vimukt kesha, loosened hair. So this is a very important one. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants, who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which had been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. So Queen Draupadi had a beautiful bunch of hair which was sanctified in the ceremonial function of Rajasuya Yajna. But when she was lost in a bet, Dushasan touched her glorified hair to insult her. Actually, he dragged her from here, didn't he? Draupadi then fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna decided that all the wives of Dushasan and company should have their hair loosened as a result of the battle of Kurukshetra. So I think, like when the husband dies, they just let their hair loose. Thus, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after all the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, all the wives of the family were obliged to loosen their hair as widows. In other words, all the wives of Kuru family became widows because of Dushasan's insulting a great devotee of the Lord. So the Lord never forgives anyone who insults the devotee. He can take insult himself. The Lord can tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreant, because the Father tolerates even insults from the Son, but he never tolerates insults upon his devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forego all the results of pious acts and benedictions also. Excuse me a minute. Okay. So that was the result. Krishna protected Draupadi's chastity. He was there for her when she called him. And Krishna can take insults to himself, but not to his devotees. That's what we learn from here. And Arjun, obviously realizing that Krishna was there for us, and not just the Pandavas, for the immediate family as well, the wives, mother, everyone. He's always there for them, and their children. Yono jugupan etya duranta krishra durvasasori rachitad anutagra bhagya shakan shishtam upyujya yatastri lokem triptam amamst salilevin magna sangha. So ya one who na us jugopa gave protection, vane in the forest, etya getting in, Durant, dangerously. Krishrat, trouble. Durvasaha, of Durvasa Muni. Ari, enemy. Chitat, fabricated by. Ayuta, 10,000. Agarbuk, one who eats before. Yeah, that person. Shak, Anna, Shishtam, remnants of foodstuff. Upayujya, having accepted. Yatha, because Trilokim, all the three worlds. Triptim, or Triptam, satisfied. Amamsta, thought within the mind. Salile, while in the water. Vinim, Agna, Sangha, all merge into the water. So this was another very important incident. During our exile, Durvasa Muni, who eats with his 10,000 disciples, intrigued with our enemies to put us in dangerous trouble. Imagine some sannyasi, some Maharaj coming to your house, just knocking on the door without any, advance notice, and he's got like 10,000 disciples with him, and they want to come and eat at your place. I don't think the supermarket will have that much food that we need to cook for 10,000 people. At that time, Lord Krishna, simply by accepting the remnants of food, saved us. By accepting food, the assembly of munis, while bathing in the river, felt sumptuously fed, and all three worlds were also satisfied. So Durvasa Muni, a powerful mystic, just some background. It can be very dangerous. A powerful mystic Brahman, determined to observe the principles of religion with great vows and under strict austerities. His name is associated with many historical events, and it appears that the great mystic could be both easily satisfied and easily annoyed, just like Lord Shiva. When he was satisfied, he could do tremendous good to the servitor, but if he was dissatisfied, he could bring about the greatest calamity. And Kunti Mata, she satisfied him with her service, and he gave her the boon that she could call a demigod and just mansikly have children as well with them. So Kumari Kunti at her father's house used to minister all kinds of services to all great Brahmins, and being satisfied with her good reception, Durvasa Muni benedicted her with the power to call any demigod she desired. He understood that he was a plenary incarnation of Lord Shiva, and thus he could be either easily satisfied or annoyed. So he had those, inclinations, just like Lord Shiva, because it was his plenary portion. It is understood that he was a plenary incarnation of Lord Shiva, and thus he could be easily satisfied or annoyed. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and by Lord Shiva's order, he accepted the priesthood of King Shvetaketu because of the king's performance of sacrifice for 100 years. Sometimes he used to visit the parliamentary assembly of the heavenly kingdom of Indradev. He could travel in space by his great mystic powers, and it is understood that he traveled a great distance through space, even up to the Vaikuntha planets beyond material space. He traveled all these long distances within 1 year during his quarrel with King Ambrish, the great devotee and emperor of the world. So when he had the quarrel with King Ambrish, he was actually running from Sudarshan Chakra. He went all over space, chased by Chakra, and like he was going to be annihilated. And he was running. He went to Shiva, he went to Lord Brahma, he went to Lord Vishnu. Nobody could help him. They said, you have to take, pay obeisances and ask forgiveness from Maharaj Ambrish, who was a great devotee. If you want forgiveness, we cannot forgive you. Only the person you have offended can forgive you. He had about 10,000 disciples, and wherever he visited and became a guest of the great Kshatriya kings, he used to be accompanied by a number of followers. Once he visited the house of Duryodhana, the enemy cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Duryodhana was intelligent enough to satisfy the Brahman by all means, and great Rishi wanted to give some benediction to Duryodhana. So Duryodhana is pretty smart, when he was very political. When the right time came, he knew what to do, and he knew how to please people, and he knew how to do maximum damage to his enemy as well. So he was very sharp like that. He had a lot of intelligence, but he used it in the wrong times, the wrong place. And that's demoniac behavior. The demons are not, it's not the less intelligent. They just use the intelligence in the wrong way. Even like now, we have demon qualities and divine qualities, and the intelligence is still there. Whether through which do we use that quality as a demon, or do we use our intelligence as a divine person? It's up to us. Now we have that the independence to decide. Do you want to be demon or divine? The intelligence is there. It's like electricity is coming to a house. Do you apply to a heater, or do you apply to a condition or a fan? It's up to us, isn't it? The power is there. Krishna gives us the power. Then it's our choice how we apply that power. We cannot blame Krishna. We cannot blame God. When we do say, God controls everything, He does everything, and not even a leaf can move without His permission. And so, if anything I've done wrong, why am I getting punished? It's God. But it's not God, because you decide. He gives you the will to decide. He gives you the intelligence. He gives you the power to carry out. He sanctions your power, but how you use it, He leaves that to you. Otherwise, you'll be a robot. What was the point? He leaves it to you. So if you're doing wrong, then you have to pay for the consequences. You cannot blame God for that, because He gives you choice to know what is wrong and right, and decide whether you want to go this way or that way. So he had about 10,000 disciples, and wherever he visited and became a guest of the great Kshatriya kings, he used to be accompanied by number of followers. Once he visited house Duryodhana, as we said, the enemy cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Duryodhana was intent enough to satisfy the Brahman by all means, and great Rishi wanted to give some benediction to Duryodhana. Duryodhana knew his mystic powers, and he knew also that the mystic Brahman, if dissatisfied, could cause some havoc, and thus he designed to engage the Brahman to show his wrath upon his enemy cousins, the Pandavas. So while they were, he already knew that if I please, so he probably went out his way, make them extra happy, because he knew there'd be a benediction coming, and then I could. So he was plotting while they were taking prasad. This is what I'll do when they give me the. Oh, maybe his mama, he's very cunning like that. Maybe he suggested it. Let's do this and destroy the Pandavas, once and for all. So that he desfied could cause some havoc, and thus he designed to engage the Brahmana to show his wrath upon his enemy cousins, the Pandavas. When the Rishi wanted to award some benediction to Duryodhana, the latter wished that he should visit the house of Maharaj Yudhishthira, who was the eldest and chief among all his cousins, and by his request he would go to him after he had finished his meals with his queen, Draupadi. So Duryodhana knew that after Draupadi's dinner, so he knew that as well, that after Draupadi's dinner it would be impossible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to receive such a large number of Brahmin guests. So they used to have spies everywhere. They knew exactly what's going on, and what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. And thus the Rishi would be annoyed, and he would create some trouble for his cousin Maharaj Yudhishthira. That was the plan of Duryodhana. So Durvasa Muni agreed to this proposal. I don't know how he's expecting somebody living in the forest to feed 10,000 people. I really don't understand what he's thinking. And he approached the king in exile. They're suffering. They just managed to find food for themselves, Yeah, they can have a big feast for 10,000 people. According to the plan of Duryodhana, after the king and Draupadi had finished their meals. So on his arrival at the door of Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was at once well received, so they didn't panic, and the king requested him to finish his noontime religious rites in the river, for by that time the foodstuff would be prepared. Durvasa Muni, along with his large number of disciples, went to take a bath in the river, and Maharaj Yudhishthira was in great anxiety. So he didn't show any anxiety to Durvasa Muni, but now he's thinking, what do we do? Like there's 10,001 people at our door, who expect to be fed, and where does the food come from? As long as Draupadi had not taken her meals, food could be served to any number of guests. But Durvasa Muni was to know that they had that potential, but they still came. But the Rishi, by the plan of Duryodhana, reached there after Draupadi had finished her meals. So he sent them pretty late. So they would have already eaten. So when the devotees are put into difficulty, they have an opportunity to recollect the Lord with rapt attention. So Draupadi was thinking of Lord Krishna in that dangerous position. So that's the point, end of the day, that when we put into a position where we have no power, we have no control, then only help is Krishna, because he makes the impossible possible. And the all-pervading Lord could at once know the dangerous position of his devotees. He therefore came there on the scene and asked Draupadi to give whatever food she might have in her stock. On her being so requested by the Lord, Draupadi was sorrowful because Supreme Lord asked her for some food and she was unable to supply it at that time. She said to the Lord that the mysterious dish which she had received from the sun god could supply any amount of food if she herself had not eaten. So that's where the food was coming from. It's not like they're going shopping or something and day by day. It's that mysterious dish was supplying them with the food every day, and once they've eaten, then there was no more. But on that day she had already taken her meals, and thus they were in danger. So by expressing her difficulties, she began to cry before the Lord, as only a woman would do in such a position. So even though she's born from Agni, she's like fire, she's a queen, she's very powerful, she's a warrior, but at times like this, emotions take over, and now she was crying because they're righteous people. They want to do the right thing, and they don't want to be cursed. They've had no problem. They don't want any more curses, especially from the Durvasa Muni. So by expressing her difficulty, she began to cry for the Lord, as only one would do in such position. The Lord, however, asked Draupadi to bring about the cooking pots to see if there was any particular foodstuff left. And on Draupadi's doing so, the Lord found some particular vegetable sticking on the pot. So it has to be like a pastime. Krishna can't just say, okay, I'll sort it out and I'll go and have a word with the Durvasa Muni and try and explain to him, like how they're supposed to feed you 10,000 people. But there has to be like a pastime. There has to be something. You have to give something to Krishna that he can work with. So there was some particular vegetable sticking on the pot. The Lord, and Krishna probably arranged that himself to that particle to be there. The Lord at once picked it up and ate it. After doing so, the Lord asked Draupadi to call for a guest, the company of Durvasa. Because when the Lord is pleased, everyone is pleased. If the Lord is full, everyone else is full also. So Bhim was sent to call them from the river. Bhim said, why are you delaying, sirs? Come on. The food is ready for you. It's still hot. Please come with the Brahmanas. Because the Lord Krishna, accepting a little particle of food, felt sumptuously fed. Now they were embarrassed, right? Even while they were in the water. They thought, since Maharaj Yudhishthira must have prepared many valuable dishes, right? Yeah, for them. And since they were not hungry and could not eat, they think they're going to so much trouble to cook for us. And in such small time that, just come for little bath, and the food is ready for 10,000 people, and the king would feel very sorry. So it's better not to go there. Doesn't decide to go away. So imagine that, like think, we're not going to be able to eat anything. It's embarrassing. Let's make a run for it. And this incident proves that the Lord is the greatest mystic, and therefore is known as Yogeshwara. Another instruction is that every householder must offer food to the Lord, and the result will be that everyone, even a company of guests numbering 10,000, will be satisfied because of the Lord being satisfied. That is the way of devotional service. So it's amazing. So Srila Prabhupada says, so people in the lower modes, they create problems and obstacles, just like Duryodhana, right? They create problems and obstacles. They are controlled by these lower modes, but the Pandavas were devotees of the Lord. They like in pure goodness. Srila Prabhupada instructs how to deal with the difficulty. So remember the Lord with rapt attention. Call the Lord for protection. Now your focus is completely on the Lord. Krishna always responds, but in his own sweet, independent way. You kind of instruct Krishna, you got to do this or you got to do it this way. He'll do it, but in his own sweet way, not necessarily the way we are expecting. So we always get a result, whether we recognize it or not. As a devotee, if you ask Krishna to intervene, and he really does. If you really use your intelligence, you see that Krishna has responded. He has intervened. But sometimes, we're so focused on the result that we wanted or the way we wanted it, and we think Krishna's not responding. But he's responding slightly differently. But he thought us best, or what he thought what we deserve. We can't desire and deserve exactly what we want. Has to be according to us, our devotion, our surrender, our faith. So we cannot just expect Krishna to give us exactly what we demand. But you see, he has responded. You can see that. We really look into it. Oh, something happens. You think that's Krishna's arrangement because I desired, and this is he's arranged this for me in this way. It really happens. So Krishna, after taking a particle of food from the pot, asked the Pandavas to now call the guests. The Pandavas didn't question Krishna, even though they had no food to offer. So it's interesting. The beam goes and says, please come, the food is ready. Please come take prasad. It's all ready for you. There's nothing there to offer. But they had faith in Krishna. That Krishna says, call them. Even Beam, Beam, like Arjuna and Yudhishthira, they would completely follow Krishna. But with Beam, he could be troublesome sometimes, a little bit handful. He can easily get angry, a little bit out of control. But he trusted Krishna completely, and he calls them. So Beam quickly went to call the guests. He had full faith in Krishna's instructions. Krishna could do anything. So all the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi, and Kunti Mata, they all trusted Krishna that if he says it will be done, they didn't have to think twice. It will be done. Wonderful. And that's the faith they had in Krishna. So we'll just do 12. Yatej Sat Bhagwan Yudhishul Panir Visma Pitha Sagrijo Astram Adan Nijam Me Anye Pichah Amune Vakal Kalevrena Prapto Mahendra Bhavne Mahad Asanaradham. So Yat by whose Tejasa by influence Atha at one time Bhagwan, the personality of God, Lord Shiva. So Bhagwan, the person of God, Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is also known as Bhagwan, the personality, but Bhagwan as in the personality of God, not the supreme personality of God. And this is where the confusion is a lot of times. Lord Brahma can be mentioned as Bhagwan, Shiva mentioned as Bhagwan, even Narad Muni mentioned as Bhagwan, but they're not the supreme Bhagwan. They're just personality of God. They have his qualities. Yudhi in the battle, Shul Panihi, one who has a trident in his hand. Visma Pitha, astonished. Sa Girijaha, along with the daughter of Himalaya mountains. Astram, weapon. Adat, awarded. Nijam, of his own. May unto me. Anya, api, so also others. Cha, and aham, myself. Amuna, by this. Eva, definitely. Kalevarena, by the body. Prapataha, obtained. Maha Indra Bhavane, in the house of Indradev. Mahat, great. Asan, ardham, half elevated seat. So it was by his influence only that in a fight, so moving on, it was by his influence only that in a fight I was able to astonish the personal God Lord Shiva and his wife, the daughter of Mount Himalaya. Thus he, Lord Shiva, became pleased with me and awarded me his own weapon. So Lord Shiva is not thinking, oh, so embarrassing, a jiva has defeated me. This is very embarrassing for me that my wife's here and she's seen me lose to, what's happened today, based on my powers. I mean, most likely, is Lord Shiva, he's saying that this jiva is benedicted by the Lord himself, otherwise he could not have achieved this. And so he's worthy of praise, this jiva. Other demigods also delivered their respective weapons to me. And in addition, I was able to reach the heavenly planets in this present body and was allowed a half elevated seat. So by the grace of Supreme Personality Godhead, Shri Krishna, all the demigods, including Lord Shiva, were pleased with Arjuna. The idea is that one who is favored by Lord Shiva or any demigod may not necessarily be favored by the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. So, when you look at the other way around, those favored by Lord Shiva, like Ravan was, is not necessarily favored by the Lord. Ravan was certainly a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but he could not be saved from the wrath of the Supreme Personality Godhead, Lord Ramachandra. And because the Supreme Lord, he does not favor people with demoniac mentality. He will only favor his devotees. Whereas Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, as long as you worked hard, they will give you the benediction. Right? I mean, Ravan did a lot of benediction, Hiranyakashipu did a lot of benediction, rather austerity, and they got the benediction. But Krishna would not give benediction to people, who are going to misuse it. And there are many instances like that in the histories of the Puranas. But here is an instance where we can see that Lord Shiva became pleased in the fight with Arjuna. The devotees of the Supreme Lord know how to respect the demigods, but the devotees of the demigods sometimes foolishly think that the Supreme Personality Godhead is no greater than the demigods. By such conception, one becomes an offender and ultimately meets with the same end as Ravan and others. The instances described by Arjuna during his friendly dealings with Lord Shri Krishna are instructive for all who may be convinced by the lessons that one can achieve all favors simply by pleasing the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So that's another reason why should we be focusing on the Supreme Lord himself, because the demigods, they don't have, even if you get power from them, in front of God, they are nothing. The power, you should be favored by the Lord himself, and that's the right favor, and he will only give you the right favors. Whereas devotees of worship, the demigods may achieve only partial benefits, so it's not complete, which are also perishable, just as the demigods themselves are. So the demigods, a lot of them are jivas, it's a post, it's a position. Another significance of the present verse is that Arjuna, by the grace of Lord Shri Krishna, was able to reach the heavenly planet even with the same body, and was honored by the heavenly demigod Indradev. Being seated with him, half elevated, one can reach the heavenly planets by the pious acts recommended in the Shastras in the category of fruity activities. And as stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, when the reactions of such pious acts are spent, the joy is again degraded to this earthly planet. So this is just a holiday. You've had your holiday, then you come back again. The moon is also on the level with the heavenly planets, and only persons who have performed virtues only, performing sacrifices, giving charity, and undergoing severe austerities, can be allowed to enter into the heavenly planets after the duration of life of the body. Arjuna was allowed to enter into the heavenly planets in the self-same body simply by the grace of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible to do so, because these bodies are made for this planet, not for the heavenly planets. The present attempts to enter into the heavenly planets by the modern scientists will certainly prove futile, because such scientists are not on the level of Arjuna. They are ordinary human beings without any assets of sacrifice, charity, or austerities. The material body is influenced by the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. The present population is more or less influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. And symptoms for such influence are exhibited in their becoming very lusty and greedy. So that's passion and ignorance. Such degraded fellows can hardly approach the higher planetary systems. Above the heavenly planets, there are many other planets also, which only those who are influenced by goodness can reach. In heavenly and other planets within the universe, the inhabitants are highly intelligent, many more times than the human beings, and they are all pious in the higher and highest mode of goodness. They are all devotees of the Lord, and although their goodness is not unadulterated, they are known as demigods, possessing the maximum amount of good qualities possible within the material world. So that's Srila Prabhupada explaining. And devotees of the Lord respect every entity, especially the demigods, but the devotees of the Lord of the demigods may not respect the Lord, as we've seen like Ravan and Hiranyakashipu. As devotees, we have a relationship with the Lord, and by pleasing Him, we can achieve anything if Krishna so desires. So that's so very interesting that devotees of the Lord they respect everyone, but the devotees of demigods don't respect the other jivas, and they don't respect the Lord Himself. So that's the difference. So thank you so much, and let's hear from yourselves. And time's going on. We'll hear from Hina Mataji first of all. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you so much. Yes, we have heard some lovely pastime of Durvasa Muni and the Bandhavs and how they were set up essentially by Duryodhana. And it's amazing when you look through the Mahabharata. I was thinking about, obviously, reading this, that the Bandhavs were subjected to so many atrocious situations due to the Kauravs' evil intentions. This was just one lila that was just touched on in these verses, but they were also subjected to, they were put in the house of Lakh, they were put into exile, then they had the disrobing of Draupadi, and it was just amazing how in each and every situation they were protected by the Lord. It's almost unbelievable how they remained steady in their faith, in their dharma, and they did that by keeping Krishna close as a friend, as a confidant, and it just, I guess these lilas demonstrate that through any trauma that we have to go through ourselves, You know, we really can't go wrong as long as we keep Krishna central. And, you know, it's just a great example of the amount of trauma that they experienced in one lifetime. It's almost much stress, the amount of, you know, hardship they had to experience from their own family members. But I think it gives us hope. It gives us hope that actually, you know, they managed to get through that, all those situations by keeping close to Krishna. So I think that for me is the real lesson from that lila. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mata. Yeah, seriously, they did have so much trauma. You know, we have like mental problems nowadays, post-traumatic syndromes. You know, people been to war and like that, or you know, they've had some incidents and they're suffering from trauma. Pandavas, they had the ultimate traumas, and because they had their faith in Krishna, they pulled through each one. Thank you, Mataji. Pundikaksh Prabhu, Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and Pranam. I mean, Krishna is named as Yogeshwara, is super mysterious. So if one think that they are mysterious, but Krishna is super mysterious, and Krishna never tolerate any insult to his devotees. Krishna declares this in Bhagavad-Gita that I will not allow my devotee to fall down. I will protect him all the time. So he is showing that how he protect all his devotees. And two good things I have noticed, Prabhuji. One is Duryodhan is so envious, and because of enviousness he becomes so insecure that even though they have been sent to exile, still he is worried that they will come back, and then he is planning to send them back again by engaging Durvas Muni. So one bad thing is already he has done wrong to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and second he is involving Durvas Muni also in his act actually. But Krishna is mysterious, he can understand all these things. And I mean, there was one Prabhuji who was just saying like sarcastically only, but he is saying that when Draupadi Ma called Krishna, he did not come immediately until the disrobe happened. Whereas in this case, Krishna appeared immediately there when the Akshaya Patra is also being used. So Prabhuji was saying that when Draupadi Ma asked Krishna, Krishna said the distance between Vrindavan and this place is more close than distance between this to Kurukshetra. That's why I'm late. So just sarcastically, but he was sharing this, that Krishna's presence immediately when the devotee is needed, and Krishna is independent. That's what he is. He can do as what he wish. He has planned this war anyhow, so which is bound to happen, and these are all falling in his plan only. And another one is one who is not envious. They will not be having jealous of any other devotee. So if you are engaged in service, you not think that okay, other person is doing more service than me. So Lord Shiva is representing a wonderful devotee here. So he is not jealous of Arjun, he is not envious of Arjun. Even he was pleased when Arjun actually defeated him. And we can see like Karna, Krishna knows that Karna has got some celestial weapons, and without celestial weapons Arjuna cannot defeat Karna or Bhishma or Dronacharya, Krupacharya, those people. So Krishna made Arjuna to utilize this Vanvas time and acquire as much as celestial weapons as much as possible. So Arjuna was sent to heavenly planet. He got something from Indra. He got something else from Agni Dev. So like that, I mean Rath also is given by Agni Dev. So Krishna makes sure that he is well prepared for the war by making these all arrangements for him. And I'm thinking if we sit back and think about all the incidents that happened in our life, maybe we can also realize certain things which we are not deserved but still happened in our life. We have been protected at so many times, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, wonderful. Yeah, you know, like I said, if we use our intelligence and just look, you know, instead of being so engrossed in exactly what we want, we look, you know, open our mind a little bit. You can see Krishna's arrangements everywhere, you know, for us. Thank you, Prabhu. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Krishna is Yogeshwar, the greatest mystic. And we forget He's intervening in our lives on a daily basis. But we forget and fail to recognize how his intervention is in our lives, because it can be quite subtle, it can be quite overt, it can be quite insignificant, but something will happen sooner or later. It illustrates that we must surrender and become dependent on the Lord, as Draupadi did, as Yudhishthira did, as the Pandavas did, because they knew that operating and working in the highest modes will attract the divine. Operating in the lower modes like Duryodhan, that's fine. You know, it shows us this is how the world is. It's about dualities, good, bad, love, hate, indifference, and goodness. But there are people with that duplicity who will strive to make the lives of others difficult, as Duryodhan did. He set up that situation in the forest. Where are you going to find Asda or Sainsbury's to feed 10,000 people? You know, this is divine intervention. And we must surrender to the divine Lord, because we have to cry with that depth of feeling to say, Lord, please help me at the times of greatest crisis. You can bet your bottom rupee he will manifest something for you, because that is his divine relationship with us. He doesn't forget us. And we must have that sadhana and faith in that relationship. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Pureen Mataji, Hare Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prabhu Pranam. Yeah, very nice pastime. It all comes to again faith in Krishna, Krishna's will and mercy, and Arjuna remembering everything, how Krishna's been there to protect them. Whatever good has happened in his life, it's all because of Krishna. And Duryodhan, I just remembered like a thing in Mahabharata we've seen once when he trips and then Draupadi remarks that Andhe ka putra andha. So we can clearly see how he believed in the Rasa Muni being a mistake rather than Krishna, the topmost mystical, or Yogeshwara. So he thought like sending Durvasa Muni to give the Yudhishthir and Pandavas bad time because Draupadi has eaten. But he didn't believe they are depending on Krishna. Krishna is there to protect them. So it just proves that he was like blind, because he was not spiritual. He did not recognize who Krishna is. So we just have to concentrate on our devotional service. We don't have to worry about anything because Krishna is there to protect us. So we don't want to give any energy to any negative things. Like Pundrikaksh Prabhu mentioned, envy gives rise to insecurity. So, but when you're engaged in devotional service, serving the Lord, and yesterday Prabhu, he shared a class where it talks about overthinking. And then again, the point comes to like, we don't have to worry about anything. We just have to serve the Lord without worrying what, impurities we have, because Krishna accepts us the way we are. So we don't have to worry about too many, am I doing this right or am I doing this wrong? So we just have to have faith in Krishna and serve and do whatever we can to engage ourselves in the service. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we follow the instructions of the Shastras, Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. We do. Once you're a devotee, then we take instructions from them and follow that path. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, the point was like sometimes we introspect and say, "Oh, I'm not doing really," and we waste so much energy thinking, worrying about things. But once we are following the shastras and the instructions, we just have to carry on. And yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thanks. Okay.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, amazing, beautiful, engrossing, soul-searching pastimes today. As always, Krishna doesn't fails to amaze us. Life after life, we are getting amazed by Krishna, and yet we think that we are the doers, and we worry, and we just waste our time. This is what we are doing day after day. This is our we can say this is our favorite pastime as a jiva, and we've seen the karmic reaction and the collective karma in these pastimes, especially in the Durvasa Muni's pastime. So the karmic reaction we've seen in case of Duryodhan, and the collective karma of the Pandavas, all the exalted devotees together. When the goodness is, the Shuddha Bhakti is together, what it can generate versus where there is all the negative qualities of a jiva, then what kind of situation that can create. It's been clearly shown to us. So these pastimes are repeated again and again for us in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and Krishna is so merciful. He understands us inside out, that what is going to really kick us our bhakti in ourselves, which is dormant. Like when sometimes a person is in difficulty, they are just looking at wrong things and thinking about wrong things, and having a good shower sometimes stirs them up, or being kicked out by a close one who through the words stirs their soul, and they suddenly feel that, oh, why I was getting myself into this slumber of all the negativity. There's no need for it. There's my creator, my eternal father, who is looking after everything, and here I am just thinking that I am the the controller, and I am the orchestrator of everything in my life. It is not the case. So we have to remember these beautiful lines, Yasmin Jushte Jagat Tushte. So if we satisfy Lord, everything is satisfied. So these beautiful episodes of Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni is also a very typical character, created, just like Narad Muni is a kind of character in Bhagavatam, is always there, and there's episodes of Durvasa Muni also coming. And as jivas, we have understood by this time now that yes, when Durvasa Muni comes, a wonderful situation is going to be created. A very long-lasting lesson is going to be left for all of us to learn from. And also we have seen in the case of Ravan, he got boon from Shiva, Bhagwan, but Prabhupada reiterates that it is a supreme personality. We have to have the boon from him. That is going to help us. We can please so many Bhagwans, but the Bhagwans, they're also dependent on the Supreme. So end of the day, it is a Supreme. So these pastimes are again taking us where Prabhupada always wants us to go, to serve Krishna, remember Krishna, and to think of him all the time. And so yes, it's a powerful pastimes, powerful lessons which can help us in our bhakti if we can remember them somewhere in our back of our mind with the Mahamantra. If we can keep one or two, the key ones in our head, how Draupadi was helped when she was in dire situation. And who did she remember? She didn't remember any of her powerful husbands who were around her. She remembered the ultimate Lord. So this is what we have to remember, and we will pass through all our tests. He is not going to make us fail in our tests. If He's brought us so far in our lives in the bhakti, He's there waiting with both hands for all of us. We just have to remember these pastimes and keep steering the the vehicle of our bhakti, the plane of our bhakti towards Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, and thank you, Krishna. As you mentioned that demigods, because they are temporary themselves, they can only give you temporary boons, whereas Krishna, he can give you a boon that of eternity, because he is Satchitananda, and everything he does is Satchitananda. And when he gives, really gives, like Dhruv Maharaj, he's got his own Vaikuntha planet. He's there, residing there with the Lord there, and you can go back home to Godhead and be with Krishna all the time. You can be his eternal associate in his pastimes. So his boons are much greater. So he's the one we got to please end of the day, and be with him. So thank you all so much. Grantha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai,
Srila
Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Gaura
Premanande,
Premanande.
Hari Bol. Catch up again Friday.
Hare
Thanks.
Krishna.
Hari
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.